Shalom. Shalom, my brothers and sisters. If you are one who truly seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, Yahuah, and who have come to accept that no man can come unto the Almighty Father except by His word manifests in the person and in the spirit of Yahusha Mashiach. If these words apply to you, I consider you my brothers and my sisters. My name is Symmanayah. Welcome to the Inward Man. This is the 19th installment of the Inward Man. It is a reflection of the things that stir within inside of me that I am compelled to present to an awakening nation. Me, Symmanayah, will forever seek, as long as I have breath, to be in a position of proclaiming the names of Yahuah and Yahusha. My brothers and sisters, the rise of the 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter, and the great multitude, which is also mentioned in the 7th chapter of Revelation. The emergence of such set apart ones will not happen in an instant. There are preparations, there are methods, there are processes which we will go through that will humble us to yield to the living power and guidance of the Almighty Father. This segment of the Inward Man is focused on the Ring of Fire, opening and closing scrolls. The Ring of Fire, opening and closing scrolls. If you are one who have followed me for several months, maybe even several years, you may have heard me talk about that the habitable places on the planet will roll up like a scroll. You may have heard me speak of just how life began in the region known as the Garden of Eden. It will also end in the region with the Garden of Eden. I will have a second part, in other words, the 20th installment. I will talk more about that, but specifically what I wanted to bring to your attention was an experience that I had, and I want to share some scriptures with you, for they are reflective of some of the response that I have gotten in times past regarding the earth being destroyed. The Ring of Fire, my brothers and sisters. I woke up this morning, it was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was saying, when Adam and Eve began, and at the fall of man, the creation of Yahuah began to open up as a scroll, and man began to multiply. Man began to spread across the face of the earth. It was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was showing me how we spread and spread till we reach the boundaries where east meet west. Commonly, man have chosen to call it the international date line. The international date line runs straight through the middle, just about, rather, not straight, but down the midway portion of the Pacific Ocean from the North Pole, almost literally to the South Pole. The international date line is where east and west meets. It was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was showing me that as man multiplied and reached the boundaries where the east and west met, the scroll became fully opened, and man began to grow in his own ways, some seeking, growing, discerning, and representing the set-apart family of Yahuah, and many going following their own wicked ways. It was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was saying, we have reached that point where the east and west meet, and now wickedness is being magnified like a blooming weed. But do not fret, for he has drawn and he has called out those who are his, and he is refining those who are his. So do not fret, my brothers and sisters. In the midst of it all, the Most High will indeed refine his children. It was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was saying to me, be encouraged, my son, For I will make a new heaven and a new earth. I will present before you, not heaven, but a new place, a new earth. I don't believe he said heaven, and forgive me for saying that, but it would be Shamanim. But mainly the focus was letting me know that it was a focus on the new earth. You know, we get so excited sometimes in our prayer and communion that we may say a word that maybe we should not be saying. So forgive me on saying the word heaven. But the ring of fire. Now, before I read some verses to you, I want to set the stage. I am compelled to believe that this planet, the earth, has many layers, and that when the scriptures talk about the destruction of earth, it is the layers that run as deep as we are familiar with, but not the entire planet from the core. And I'll explain that as I read these verses. Because when I used to talk about the earth, they said, no, there's a scripture say the earth is Yahuah's in the fullness thereof, or the earth will be forever. Indeed. So I want you to just consider this, my brothers and sisters. The surface or even the layers of the planet does not make the entire planet. And that the core of the earth is like one gigantic seed. With that said, my brothers and sisters, know this. I have also said that I believe in these last days when Yahuah will gather Yashar'al from the four corners of the earth, that the scrolls that would roll up like a scroll. But what's different today, my brothers and sisters, is that the Most High, is almost though he showed me that the scroll opened up and now it's closing to begin a new chapter in our lives. And that closing up would be a fire. I have said on many occasions there will be cataclysmic situations and conditions that will force man back to the region where life began. Hear these words, O Yasharal. Let me share some scriptures with you. Isaiah 11:12 said, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yasharal and assemble the dispersed of Yehuda from the four corners of the earth. I submit to you those four corners open wide meet at the international date line. It meets within the circle that we know as the ring of fire. I am compelled to believe that with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. I want you to read the entire 3rd chapter of Peter, but for the sake of time, since we are such a busy people, and in my prayer, I believe I am granted permission to bring your attention to 2 Peter 3:10 to 3:12. But read the entire 3rd chapter of 2 Peter. But I'm going to read 2 Peter 3:10 through 12. But the day of Yahuah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away, and I'm reading from that particular version, with a great noise, and the elements should melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall burn up. Now it says that the elements should melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burnt up. It goes on, 11, 12 verse. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be and set apart behavior and reverence, looking for and hastening the coming day of the Almighty One, through which the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. My brothers and sisters, I believe that this planet, we will see to a certain depth this planet being consumed with fire, according to the scriptures. Now one may say, well, wait a minute, I read some scriptures that say the earth is forever. The earth stands forever. I'm going to read that verse. So here's the thing, my brothers and sisters. When we read one verse that says that the earth stands forever, and we read another one that says it burns up, do the scriptures contradict themselves? No. I say again, no, absolutely not. In our prayer, if we seek to discern and come away from trying to just use our literacy skills, such as our reading and comprehension, and just looking at the text text or the contextual writing here. Let us see what the Spirit of Yahusha says, our teacher, so we can understand why in one group of words we see that the earth will be burnt up and destroyed, and in another passage we see the earth stands forever. How can this be? And these are the questions that I ask when I run into things that may appear to conflict. So consider this, my brothers and sisters. Consider the earth burning up, but not all the way to the core. Consider the surface. How many of us are aware that when molten rock, lava, comes out of the ground from the depths of the earth, it makes mountains, it makes land, it enlarges lands. When molten cools and hardens, it creates a new place to live. And over time, trees and flowers and life grows on top of what was once molten rock. And so since the scriptures talk about a new earth, could not the elements burning up, could not everything be consumed at some point, making a new earth for the children of Yashar'al, for the children of Yahuah? Now then, you may say, well, what happens to us? You know, you hear this term rapture, and we read in the scripture where it says we will meet Yahusha in the air. I don't believe in a pre-trib or a mid-trib rapture. But imagine if you were cleaning the table and there was something of value and you're trying to make the tabletop new. Wouldn't you lift it up, then make the table new, and then set it back down? I submit to you, I believe with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, that the power and might of the Almighty Father, right before it comes to final judgment day, that the set apart will rise up. We will be resurrected, and those who are alive will be caught up. And there will be a catching up in the clouds. But it didn't say that we would be caught up in the clouds and stay up in the clouds. It didn't say how long. But we know the scripture says when we see him, we shall be as he is, for we shall be with him. And I submit to you, when that resurrection time come up, the surface, everything that has been polluted and contaminated by man will be consumed by fire. And we will see within a matter of Yahuwah's time that it's a new earth before us. It was as though the Spirit of Yahusha was giving me a glimpse in more detail, more than I'm presenting here, my brothers and sisters. I felt overwhelmed, but yet in my spirit I rejoiced. I praised him. I saw the pain and I saw the rejoicing. I saw the joy. I said, I believe he revealed much. The ring of fire, keep an eye on, my brothers and sisters. It would be like a scroll beginning to close up, forcing man back to that region. And I will talk about that in the next installment. Let me continue to read. 1 John 2:15 to 2:17 reads, do not love the world, nor that which is in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Because all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away in the lust of it, but the one doing the desire of the Almighty One remains forever. They say the world passes away. I submit to you, I believe it passes away, for all things that are on its surface at some point will be consumed with fire. The fire at the words and power and might from the Almighty Father. If you search the scriptures, you will see it speak of earthquakes. Earthquakes are when tectonic plates on the surface of the earth collides, and one pops up, the other one goes down. If it's a convergence, if it's a divergence, they spread open, like cracking open a shell. Earthquakes, volcanic activity is often associated with earthquakes or possible earthquakes, my brothers and sisters. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, if you study the scripture, you'll even read where it talks about the stars colliding to the planet. So like a consuming fire, the surface, the depths of this planet, all that has been polluted, had its day of destruction, or one could say, if you look beyond that, day of renewal. Psalm 75:3 reads, the earth and all its inhabitants are melted. It is I who set its columns firm. That was Psalm 75:3. Ecclesiastic 1:4 say, a generation passes away, a generation comes, but the earth stands forever. So this is the one I was talking about when they say the earth stands forever. I submit to you that the original writing and that the spirit behind all that is said, they don't conflict. We just must understand there's a part of the earth that burns up and consumes, but it did not destroy the entire planet. And the core is as the seed of the planet, which things have grown and wrapped around according to the fashion, the structure that the Most High saw fit. So yes, earth will stand forever, but not as we can imagine, my brothers and sisters. Pray and seek to discern whether these words have life or not. For I am compelled to believe the Most High made it clear to me, and as well as to others who are able to discern. Matthew 5:5 say, blessed are the meek, because they shall inherit the earth. And I submit to you, it's talking about that new earth. Psalms 12:6 say, the words of Yahuah are clean words, silver, tried in a furnace of earth, refined 7 times. The furnace in a furnace of earth, could it be talking about earth's core? Could it be talking about volcanic activity, fire consuming and destroying the things that are not pure? That was Psalms 12:6. Psalm 78:69 read, and he built his set apart place like the heights, like the earth. He founded it forever. That was Psalm 78:69. Psalm 24:1. The earth belongs to Yahuah and all that fills it, the world and those who dwell in it. Notice that it say, and all that fills it. Where does the beginning of earth begins as it is filled up? I submit to you at its core. Psalms 37:9 said, for evildoers are cut off, but those who wait on Yahuah, they shall inherit the earth. I believe with all my heart, mind, body, and soul that it is talking about inheriting that new earth. Psalm 37:29 says, the righteous shall inherit the earth and dwell in it forever. Psalm 46:1, the Almighty One is our refuge and strength, a help in distress soon found. Psalms 46:2 says, therefore we do not fear, though the earth reels and the mountains topple into the heart of the seas. This does not describe volcanic activity, earthquakes. This does not describe something that could be akin to a product from he who is indeed a consuming fire. Psalms 46:3 says, let its waters rage, foam, let mountains shake with its swelling, Selah. Hear these words, O Yashar'al. Hear these words, end times are here. The preparations, the refinement that is necessary to fulfill all that is written, all that is regarding the promises of the Most High. The process is ramping up, and it will get intense. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, there will be forced movement. There will be forced migration. And I will talk more about that in the next installment. But in this installment, consider the ring of fire is where the scroll completed, and now it is beginning to close up. We see the opening of a new era, the closing of an old era. If you doubt these words, have eyes open, my brothers and sisters. Watch the power and might of the Almighty Father allow fire. Now, he said he would not flood the earth with water again. But if you search the scriptures thoroughly, you will see there are many occasions where it mentions darkness upon the face of the earth, fire, consuming fires. Know this, O Yashar'al, be not afraid. Only fear Yahuah, for in fearing Yahuah, that is the beginning of knowledge, as it is written. Be encouraged. My prayer is that you have the strength, that we have the strength, the fortitude, the endurance to receive with a ready mind, body, and soul the living instructions of Abba Yahuah through his set-apart spirit, sent in Yahusha's name. Behold, O Yashar'al, there are words that will come to us, informing us of what is expected and what lies ahead. Until next time, be of good health. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.